How is anybody in this country supposed to prosper that's not already wealthy? Can someone tell me that?
I have been stealing my groceries. I have been basically stealing anything I can just so I can survive. I'm like a little squirrel.
You mean to tell me that the average American goes to their mind-sucking job, works 8 to 12 hours to have everything deducted, have nothing left to live on, and we're forced to put food on the table by using credit cards?
So things are only getting worse. They revised the job number again today, and they lied to us again on how many jobs are being created. Things are getting worse. Let's talk about it. There are many people out there that are struggling right now with the cost of inflation just making everything out of reach. We saw on the last 2 videos I've done that the price of fast food is just inflated into the ceiling. We got the housing prices that are just completely unaffordable. Where does it go from here? Let's get down to these videos. Let's go.
What's up, America? I'm going to be real with you here because I see no future for people in America. After seeing the high cost of homes nationwide, the high cost of gas, the high cost of food, the high cost of rent, cars, rental cars, used cars, insurance, healthcare, taxes, and every other thing, how is anybody in this country supposed to prosper that's not already wealthy? Can someone tell me that? The pulling yourself up by your bootstraps argument is and over. It doesn't work now. You have average home prices of $512,000. Grocery prices are almost 100% more since 4 years ago. Same with rent, same with mortgages, same with used cars, same with new cars. Taxes are slightly lower, and I do mean slightly. Wages are slightly up, but no way in hell will that meet the requirements. I just saw a story about a nurse with a $75,000 salary a year and an 808 credit score denied for getting a home. 0 student loan debt too. So debtless, making 75 grand a year with an over 800 credit score, not good enough for a house. So what are we doing here? What's the end goal? Starvation? Death? What's going on here? No matter what you do, no matter how you spend the finances, the middle class and the poor have no upward mobility. There is no hope now. None. No hope. None. 0. The next 2 or 3 generations are because you allowed so much greed. Younger generations will never have shit because of your greed. I've already broken my back trying to make ends meet working for the last 30 years. I already know I'm not going to get anything from the rich. I don't give a But the younger generations, if you keep stealing and being greedy, they're going to all be homeless. And then what do you have? Ruling over a bunch of homeless people?
He's got epic rants. He's got some good thoughts. Comment down below what you think about this. I will say this, home prices, if they do not reset, the next generation will not be able to own a house, period. If you've got student debt and you've got a car payment and you think you're gonna own a house in the future, they're gonna keep going up because they're gonna keep printing money. We saw the job reports. They were completely fabricated the last 2 times and they've revised them twice. And we know the economy is slowing. We know that they must reduce interest rates or the economy is going to go in the tank, but yet we have all-time stock prices. That's inflation. We're seeing tons of inflation. When you go to Walmart and a bag of chips is doubled, when you go to Lowe's and an outlet is doubled, when you go to any neighborhood, just throw a dart and the housing prices have almost doubled since 2017. I'm sitting in a house right now, paid 60 grand for it. It's worth 300 now. This is insane what we have seen, and they've done it to the younger generation. Those that owned assets, a house, etc., they got wealthy and everybody else got left in the dust. And in the future, if you don't own assets, it's going to be the biggest wealth transfer of all times. I have a friend, he was sitting in Key West the other day next to a hedge fund manager, and the guy was a little intoxicated, and he said, "You have not seen it yet. You have no idea what's about to happen to the middle class because the transfer of wealth has not even happened yet." We saw a massive transfer of wealth during COVID, during the 19, you know what 19, and we haven't even seen the big wave yet. What was that we just saw? Is the next one going to be even crazier? We got to really think about this stuff because it's about to get out of hand and politicians have no idea how to stop it. Every time they try to, it makes it worse because we are in this roller coaster.
Trigger warning, I'm gonna crash out right now, and this is gonna be a long video, but I feel like you could relate to this, so here we go. It's great living in America, unless you're a fucking American. If you're a bank, though, you are thriving, while the rest of us are just trying to fucking survive. I just came across a video saying that banks are at an all-time high. Like, their expectations have blown through the roof of what their profit margins were gonna be. You wanna know why? They are fucking thriving because America is starving to live. At least 95% of Americans right now are literally surviving off credit cards, off loans in general. And
that's why banks are crushing it right now. Credit cards, 20%, 25%, 30% interest rates. Everybody is surviving off credit cards. You got the college kids surviving off credit cards. They have to leverage everything.
banks are eating that shit up over the high interest rates. We're fighting for our lives over here. You want to know what the American dream is like? Let me tell you. Every day I wake up hoping today is the last day on earth. I'm tired of it here. The American household, on average, is $80,000 in debt. And that's just credit cards and like auto loans. Maybe even some student loans thrown in there. But that's not even including your mortgage. That's just credit card debt. And right now, banks are eating that interest rate up while we're all surviving. You mean to tell me that the average American goes to their mind-sucking job, works 8 to 12 hours to have everything deducted, have nothing left to live on, and we're forced to put food on the table by using credit cards?
And that's where they want you. You can never escape the rat race. You are slave to your job. You are slave to the lender. And once they can get everybody to taste that debt, they got you. And that's the only way money's really created in America, is debt notes. People purchasing houses, taking out mortgages, people purchasing car loans, taking out, these long lines of credit, and it keeps the world revolving. And they know if we just started saving money, the economy of America would start to fall apart. They want us all in debt and spending money. Every dime that comes in goes right back out. It's called the velocity of money. And you know what the margins are on a credit card like American Express, Capital One? 55%. That's what the average margins are on a credit card purchase. And then to make it worse, they cut a deal with Walmart and they make their transaction costs down to 1%, 1.5%. But the small businesses, the mom and pop businesses, their transaction cost is like 3%, 3.5%. So it's skewed to the large corporations. And that's why a lot of people are so mad about corporate greed. Comment down below what your thoughts are about corporate greed, because we have allowed these large corporations to be most of our economy because we thought it was easy to just go down and get it all at Wally World. Well, now they own everything and they're putting everybody out of business and there's no alternative. The greed went straight to the top and corporate America owns all of it. And to make it worse, in everybody's retirement fund who's invested in the S&P 500, it's those companies. And if you want to retire with a 401k, IRA, SEP IRA, you're invested in those companies. The corporate ones, the corporate greed ones.
Picture this, right? You go to college. You get yourself in hundreds of thousands of student loan debt. You are one of the 5% of college graduates to get your job in the field you got your degree in, right? You get everything garnished from your wages because the increase on living and everything around you has gone up, but your pay has stayed the same. But then you also get taxes taken out. We get taxed just to breathe, people. We get taxed on owning shit. We get taxed on working. We get taxed on just living. Okay? Then you got health insurance. That's a joke and a whole video within itself. But basically, the average American pays anywhere between $300 and $1,000 a month for health insurance. Basically, you're paying just to say, I have health insurance. But then when you go to use health insurance, you have co-pays and deductibles, and they don't cover nothing until you've met your deductible. What do you mean? Why am I paying you $1,000 a month to have health insurance when I'm still paying more just to use it? I digress. Then you have everything like retirement, 401 taken out. Okay, great. You're going to work 30 to 40 years of your prime so that when you get to retirement age, we're going to give you monthly stipends back just so you can afford to live without a job. Meanwhile, like 80% of senior citizens that are retired now are working at Lowe's at the age of 87 because they can't survive just on their retirement. That's just a prime example. We're all struggling to keep our heads above water because we don't earn enough money after everything gets taken out. We are now forced to pay super high interest rates on everything we own. Even stuff that's paid off, we're still paying interest on. How does that make any sense? But you're sitting there, the American family, the average American family is no longer middle class. You're either poor or rich. The rich is making money off the poor because the poor can't afford to have two jobs, full-time jobs, and still be able to take care of their families and have enough money at the end of the day to put food on the table. Hence why we are forced to live on credit card debt. And y'all are just going to keep jacking up the prices that we're never going to be able to afford to pay off. Because unfortunately, Dave Ramsey, the average American person has nothing left after their paychecks come in and they pay their bills and they buy groceries. They have nothing left to save. So you're sitting there with $20 to your name for 2 weeks until the next penny. And that's if you're lucky. There's some people that are in the red right now. They are working their asses off and they can't even pay all their bills on time. And they're trying to decide, do you want to keep the light on this month or the water? No, living is just a luxury. I can't afford to put braces on my kids right now. That's a luxury. Going out to eat,
They've kept turning the pot up on us for the last couple of years to the point we don't know we're cooked yet. But we're cooked. And to make matters worse, the tax code is absolutely insane. And if you do have a good year and you get ahead and you roll into that next tax bracket, well then they got you there too. And you owe all this money. It is insane that you can work your entire life and pay for a house, pay it off, and then all of a sudden you go out to the mailbox. You thought you had everything clear and done and you were out of the rat race. You go out to the mailbox and you look in the mailbox and there's a letter from the county. There's an assessment. And it says, dear homeowner, we're assessing you for X amount of dollars. And if you don't pay it, we'll take your house. What is that? You basically rent your land from the state. You think you own it. And property taxes can take it away from you. And that is the most frustrating thing, to think that you can't escape the rat race. And if you get lucky enough to escape it and pay off a house, even be able to buy a house, but then you pay it off. And they say, you know what? You owe X amount of dollars, but if you don't pay this, me and 3 other politicians got together and said you owe this, but if you don't pay this, we're going to take your house. And that's where we are. You don't own anything in this world. I was so frustrated this week when I got that letter from the county saying the county commissioners have decided that you need to pay this tax, this assessment. And if you don't, we'll take your house. Insanity that they can do that to you. You know, the governor here in the state of Florida is trying to do away with property tax. And he said that it's wrong. And it is. And then the politicians want to turn around and be like, well, what about the budget? And I'm like, I don't know. How about the people that their family don't live there and it's their homestead? They pay more taxes. I don't know. But if I'm trying to just survive and keep a roof over my family's head and I was able to pay off a house, that you can take it from me. Even though they say it's homesteaded and it's your homestead and you have all these protections and tax protections, not with an assessment, they just come up with this stuff. Imagine living in downtown Atlanta and they want to build a new stadium across the street and they just hit you with a massive assessment, a massive tax rate increase, and then they take your house. That's what these politicians can do to you. It is insane. Not only do they take it away from you with inflation, they take it away with you in property tax. If you want to get married, if you want a business license, if you want to do anything, the government is there with their hand out. Insane. Comments down below. What do you think? You ever had this happen?
Let's talk about it. So I live in a part of Florida. I mean, Florida itself is disgusting, but I live in one of the worst parts of Florida. And there's nothing here. And for the past year, I have financially struggled to the point of mental insanity. I have been stealing my groceries. I have been basically stealing anything I can just so I can survive. I'm like a little squirrel. And the stress from the financial instability has made my bipolar symptoms come back up. Oh no. So now they want me to medication. I didn't need to take medication for 4 years, but now I need medication. So I'm getting in my car. I'm driving to my mom, and we're gonna live out of our cars. We're gonna camp. We're gonna save as much money as we can. We're gonna get vans. I'm done living in this system. I will forage for my own food if I have to. I'll kill an animal if I have to. I'm done being part of this rat race. This society is not normal. This isn't normal. Okay?
To make matters worse, you can't even just be homeless, okay? Remember the video I made about living in your car and how hard it is? That if you have nowhere to go, you can't even sleep in your car. You can't even just go somewhere and say, I'm just going to go night-night right here without the cops coming and running you off, the county coming and giving you a ticket, or you have to pay for your tag and maintenance on your car and gas and all these things to keep moving. There's nowhere for you to go. And I'm as entrepreneur as they come. I've taught for many years on this channel how to make extra money. But when it comes down to a hardship, the world is against you. There's nowhere to go in some of these situations. And you try to go live Slab City or whatever, and somebody's trying to like come and get you. It's wild. Comment down below if you've ever tried to live out of your car. It's absolutely insane. I remember coming home from the Army one time. I was on a long road trip and I was tired and I had to pull over. And I pulled over on the side of the road, and it wasn't long for somebody was knocking on my door. I just couldn't drive anymore. It was too late to get a hotel room, and some deputies knocking on my window. I was just a single guy doing things right, making sure I didn't fall asleep on the street, and they get you then too. There's no answer to some of this stuff. If you're behind and there's no way to catch up, it's a hardship.
So I don't normally ever come on here and post anything except of my dog because he's absolutely gorgeous. But I am extremely frustrated being a full-time employed person living in Florida and not being able to afford to live. I have spent my whole day off trying to find a more affordable place to live because I can't afford $1,300 a month in rent, and then a $650 car note, and then $300 in insurance, and then you got utilities, and it's either I eat or I pay my bills, and then even then it's like, okay, well, which bill is going to be late this month? And I'm so sick of it. Like all these apartment complexes and realtors and even private renters, so hard. And I mean that with everything in me. I nor anybody else should be working 60 plus hours a week and not be able to live. I'm about to crash the app. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me losing my mind. I don't know. But I'm about to lose my shit because I'm
so livid right now. Hear me out. Health insurance in America is a joke.
I just saw a video of a girl being like, how are we going to do this, like, for the rest of our lives? And I just have to say, low-key, I feel like a lot of young people right now in the workforce, I see comments all the time that are like, I'm betting on the world to end. It's like, yeah, me too. Like, how up of a economy, of a society, of a country are we living in right now that your young people, your new to the workforce young people are basically like, we basically have like ideations because we don't want to do this forever. There's no reward for our work anymore. What's the reward? Like, oh, you get to go to sleep at night.
What do you think about it? Is this generation going to be able to work until they're 75, 80 years old? I saw today they're trying to raise the age of Social Security to collect on it to 80 years old. Social Security is one of the biggest frauds in America I've ever seen because you pay into a system, they make you pay into a system. The rate of return on the money paid into the system is like nothing. If they would just allowed me to invest my own money, I would have been way ahead. Or at birth, just give a person $7,000, put it in the S&P 500 for till the time they go to retire at 70 years old, and they would have more than enough money to retire. It's an insane amount of money if they would just give it to you at birth. Instead, they tax you. I think I pay 15.5% Social Security or whatever it is every year. It goes into the system. I can't touch it until I'm 60, and then they raise the bar on you every time. And that's where they get the money for a lot of these entitlements and all these wars. It's like a slush fund. And then they go, oh, by the way, we're going to have to raise the age of Social Security, so you're not going to get that money. We're broke. Sorry. Everybody knows that Social Security will not be there when my generation goes to retire. I would have rather just been able to have my money and let me do me instead of taking it from me at 15% or whatever it is. Absolute insanity. It's one of the biggest frauds on our society is you're going to tax me, put it into a slush fund. I don't see it until I'm 70. And if I die, my family can't even inherit it. Comment down below. I believe that it doesn't transfer on death. You're literally taxing an entire generation and then confiscating their wealth at the end of their life. How's that right? I'm referring right here to if I pay in, let's say, $100,000 and I pass away and I want to will it to my aunt or my sister or my cousin or whatever because it's mine. I paid it in. No, can't do that. They're going to keep it. They're going to keep it in the slush fund. Is that right? That if you earn the money and they force you to put it in there, it's not yours to give to whoever you want. When you pass away and your children's benefits expire, money's gone. That's not right. I go on and on about all this stuff. It's all wired against us.
Like the lack of money that people have now is really just starting to compound anxiety, depression, anger. They're short fuse. People are just getting, it's even worse to me this year than it was last year, but fuses are getting shorter. You see people that any kind of issue comes up, whether they're in a store, just anywhere, people are just automatically, they're getting the shakes, they're getting angrier faster. People are not having the amount of patience they used to have. It really comes down to emotional intelligence, and people are not able to manage this anymore. And I'm starting to see people break. I see people constantly all day, and it just seems like it's starting to just kind of compound. And I don't know where this is going to go. Bills are not getting cheaper. Nobody's getting paid more money. Matter of fact, companies out there are quietly reducing things like perks, benefits, bonuses. So in a way, you're actually making less money probably than you might have made in the last several years. And at the same time, everything just continues to go up. Aggregate numbers, I bet everything put together, you're probably almost double your expenses that you were before COVID. If you add up every single bill you have. I just don't know where this goes. People just people are not making eye contact with you out in public. Less and less people are smiling. People just seem on edge. They seem agitated. They're just in their own world. And it's like everybody's got their brain on a hyperactive thing, about stress, about money. And man, the lack of money is just going to break people. Money doesn't buy happiness, but money buys your peace. It buys options. It buys your ability to survive and to enjoy the things around you. And if you ain't got no money, well, everything else around you crumbles. And man, I don't know, man. But
yeah, it's going to wind up with a lot of people going crazy. They're not able to take a lot of this. I mean, heck, most of my friends are stressed to the eyeballs, just keeping their business afloat or their livelihood afloat or paying their light bill and their house. Not to mention the light bill, all the utilities are going up. There's going to be people lose their house because they can't pay the light bill. Imagine this. All of a sudden, the politicians want to get rid of a certain section of properties to to build a new stadium, and they just make your power bill triple. And they'll say, oh, well, the power company won't do that. They're independent. Yeah, right, man. They just throw some stupid taxes on there or some bureaucracy on there, and that whole area's power bill doubles. Or they put a data center right down the street, and they double everybody's power, and then all of a sudden, you can't afford the power bill in the house anymore, and you got to sell it. And the next thing you know, there's a bulldozer there, and they're all getting removed, and it's a new AI data center, or it's a new football field, or it's a stadium for soccer, or it's a new civic center where they're doing rock concerts. Who knows? All this stuff is crooked, and it's wired against us, and there's nothing we can do about it other than trying to pull ourselves up and doing the best we can. What do you think?
I don't know if this is happening to anybody else in America, but it's getting pretty fucking annoying with me. So I had a phone plan that I started about 1.5 years ago. It was about $115 a month. A little overpriced for a single line, but sure. I was willing to pay it. Come 1.5 years later, they're trying to charge me $167 a month for the rest of the contract. They don't specify why. They just, it's extra service fees. I'm sorry. $47 more in service fees a month I have to pay? That makes no. And then I literally go to my auto insurance, which was quoted to me when I first started the policy, which was a 6-month policy, at $311. $311. It's way overpriced, but I drive an Audi, so what the f ever. I guess I'll pay the $300 a month for insurance. Then I go back to my policy, and they're telling me I owe $374 a month for the remaining 3 months. Extra accrued service fees. My storage unit used to be $97 a month for my stuff. It is now $145. They raised the price on the contract and on the agreement that I made with the company. This is the same with the insurance company. This is the same with the phone plan company that I'm putting this video on. When are we gonna get sick and tired of corporate America taking our money? I'm getting real sick and tired of this. This isn't even like a political view on left or right side or anything like that. I'm sick of America stealing from its citizens. I'm sick of corporate billion-dollar conglomerate oligarchies that continue to throw little fees and fines on us like we owe it, like we have to force ourselves to pay because they contractually can keep us in a contract. It's getting old. How did my bills go up over $400 in the past month from accrued fees? They can't even specify why those fees were raised. We need to hold these people accountable. These CEOs, CFOs, these owners of these corporate businesses, billion-dollar wallets packed. All these rich, horrible people where it's like, well, they earned it fair and square. Yeah, by people over and ripping people off. Accrued fees, fines, and until their pockets are so lined, they don't even know what to do with their money, while the rest of us sit here and struggle and feed off of breadcrumbs on the ground, going, it's the government, it's the Democrats, it's the Republicans, it's everything else but exactly what corporate America is standing for right now. They don't give a about us citizens. They only give a about their company, and they just want to sit there money hungry, just shoveling their face full of our money.
So I'm being evicted from my apartment. Yeah.
Man, I feel everything this guy is saying right here, because I just saw my car insurance just went up $75 a month on my old silver Toyota Tacoma from 2011. Okay, it went from 100 to 150. Like, think about that increase. My sewer bill went from 50 to 75. My power bill went from probably 150 to 260. My water bill went from 15 to I think 25. And then I got a letter in the mail yesterday saying that my water bill was going up 3%. Just the amount they charge you per volume of water, going up 3%. My cell phone bill has gone up. The iPhone has gone up to buy another one. We all know that they have a short fuse on them every 2 years. You got to have one of those. Gas and maintenance on my car, maintenance on the house, roof has gone up exponential. They've doubled in the last few years. A refrigerator, appliances are insane right now. And then you got the tariffs on top of that with all this different stuff. I want to know your thoughts. These are my thoughts. The world feels like it's coming in, and we thought $100,000 would get you out of poverty. Now you got to make $200,000. And if we don't see some type of pullback on all this stuff, especially housing, you're gonna have to make $300,000 a year to have a decent life. Just have a nice house, a couple cars, a little money in the bank, pay for your kids' college, and start the rat race all over again. So let me know what you think. Comments down below. This is a very interesting one. If you're looking for real estate on the Gulf Coast of Florida, Alabama, my email is down below. I'd be happy to help you. And if you're looking for a real estate agent anywhere in the country, I'd be happy to help you find one. But no matter what, keep your head up. We're going to get through this. We're going to look for a way for everybody to prosper. We got to stay positive, and we're going to look for a way to get out of this. Hopefully these politicians figure it out. I don't think they will. And I'll see you guys in the next video.